Thanks for listening to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in American soccer. And don't forget to subscribe.
Hello everyone, welcome to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast. My name's Steven Jotter, and joining me as always is Jake Watroba and Arman Kafai. And on today's episode, we talk about the U.S. men's national team. We talk about the apology letter that Greg Berhalter wrote, Christian Pulisic's hot run with Chelsea, and the decision by Sergiño Dest to pick the U.S. over Holland. Now, listeners, if you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and follow us at Uncle Sam Soccer Pod. We want to hear all your thoughts regarding today's show, so send them in, whether that's email, DM, or just a tweet. Now, fellas, we'll talk some MLS later this week, so be on the lookout. And Jake, we have a special interview coming out soon.
We do, for our USL fans, maybe even our USL League One fans in particular. That's a tease for you, by the way. I'm not going to reveal who it is. But yeah, we do have a little we have an interview dropping later this week, so be on the lookout for that. It's going to be USL related. I know we have some. I know Harry in particular, big USL guy. Also, he loves the USL content, so we just want to make sure Harry's happy. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. That's going to be dropping later this week.
Wow, we're catering our content for particular listeners. Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, we're buying.
Harry's the most. Harry might be one of the more vocal followers we have. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Arman, how we doing? How's the off season in FC Dallas land?
It's pretty boring, to be honest with you. I mean, there's competitive practices and stuff going on, but it's not silly season yet, and the MLS playoffs are still going on, so it's like a weird, like in between where like nothing is really going on. So it's just kind of, 2019 was cool. Oh, we can't really look forward to 2020 just yet. Let's wait for this last game. Okay, now we can look forward to 2020. So it's a bit of a bit dull right now, to say the least.
Yeah, listeners, we'll have MLS Cup preview stuff later this week, as mentioned. But let's get to the U.S. men's national team. Let's get straight to the question of the day. Arman, Jake, listeners at Unc Sam Soccer Pod, what is the current state of the U.S. men's national team? And Jake, just give us a couple of the headlines to inform the listeners of what all they have been missing the last couple of weeks.
Well, first and foremost, the U17s bow out of the Under-17 World Cup in the group stage. So we have that going for us. Some toxicity, I guess, in the U.S. men's national team camp. There was reports about DeAndre Yedlin being unhappy and preferring to go back to Newcastle, which is another dumpster fire, as we're on the topics of dumpster fires. You have Greg Berhalter's apology letter to the fans that dropped, I believe, last week. Christian Pulisic. Remember how we were all in panic mode about him a couple weeks ago? He's had a great run of form recently with Chelsea, and as you mentioned in the opening, Sergiño Dest has made a decision to commit to the U.S. men's national team. So, guys, let's get right to it. Let's do
This also follows their embarrassment in Toronto after, losing to Canada 2-0.
Well, let's be fair. It was already a dumpster fire before Canada, so I'm not going to sit here and say Canada was the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, this program has been a dumpster fire for the better part of 2 years now, so.
Fair enough. Anyway, listeners at Unc Sam Soccer Pod, let us know what is the current state of the U.S. men's national team. And Jake, I mean, still a dumpster fire? Is this what we're gonna go with?
I mean, it's terrible right now. I mean, if you want to sit here and play Mr. Positivity and go, Pulisic's looking great. They got Sergiño Dest. Hey, we got some kids in the pipeline here with the U23s and under 18s or under 20s or whatever. I mean, it's the top of U.S. soccer is rotten. The coach sucks. I mean, until there's a new president, until Jay Berhalter's out, until Greg Berhalter's out, it's just going to be the same old business as usual, status quo. Nothing's going to change. Pulisic looks great. Serginho Dest is great, but let's be real. They're going to go play Canada and Cuba, and we're going to fire up the mics in 2 or 3 weeks here and go, God, what an unimpressive performance against Canada, or well, it's Cuba. What did you expect? They should have beaten Cuba. So it's just going to be more of the same for the U.S. men's national team. Sorry, I'm painting a very grim picture here. Arman, what do you think?
Arman, give us some positivity.
There is some positivity you can find, but I guess I got Serginho Dest, and I guess the overreaction of Pulisic was that, maybe an overreaction of sorts. Look, the U17 thing, I think, is something that recently came in the news. I think they bowed out yesterday, and it's concerning because it seemed like that group was very hyped. I think like Raphael Wicki was a very hyped manager, and they looked really uninspiring at times.
Yeah,
like
he's Swiss too. Doesn't board well. Yeah, that's the Swiss Americans, man. They do. Swiss in America, they don't even open your mouth. Just move on. Just move on.
No, but looking at just the state of the program right now, it seems as if I think we're gonna wait till November 15th and they play Canada on Friday night in Explorer Stadium in Orlando to see. I think that could change, not drastically the view of what we have our national team, but it could change it a little bit to be like, okay, maybe Berhalter did learn from his mistakes, and you know what, this team actually is pretty. Is okay. Maybe he's okay at this. Because look, if they finish up top of the group and end up going to the Nations League final, I don't know if people will they won't forget about it, but they won't also be, I guess, relatively mad about what happened in the past, as long as they get the job done right now. Kind of like what you talked about, Steven, in terms of getting results. But overall, from the Yedlin, comments, or not comments, the Yedlin reports.
Okay.
So again,
you mentioned that. I wanna let's get into that. We've mentioned it twice on the show, and I'll give you guys my take on the current state of the U.S. men's national team after this. But from The Athletic, DeAndre Yedlin's feelings about the current environment or atmosphere within the U.S. men's national team. Quote: "It's not exactly a great environment around the team at the moment," said one source. In fact, the verdict was that Yedlin would be excited to return to Newcastle duty following a troubling 10 days with his national team. This is, again, via the Athletic. So this isn't coming from some random Twitter individual. This is the Athletic who is reporting that. And guys, I think that sums up really well the U.S. men's national team. Here you have a collection of Americans who are succeeding overseas, who are doing well. We'll get to Christian Pulisic, right? He's doing great now, but when they seem to get together, there's no fun with the U.S. men's national team. I don't know what Greg Berhalter does, but they look dead. They look miserable in the colors of the red, white, and blue.
I'd look dead if I had to listen to sleepy Greg Berhalter talk. Oh man, stealing a little reference there from Donald Trump. Woof. But yeah, you listen to the guy talk. Nothing inspiring about him.
Or is it maybe because the team? Does the team I think they go on a low carb diet? Manager's tired from that,
I can attest. I can attest to that. That would make you tired.
Yes, but frankly speaking, let's look at Christian Pulisic's attitude on the bench versus Canada when he got subbed. He seemed the test. I question whether Greg Berhalter has the locker room together with the U.S. men's national team, because following the debacle in Toronto and that loss against Canada, there was a tweet, and I don't have it in front of me because it just came to me, but the tweet basically illustrated that all these individual Americans who came together and lost to Canada, went back overseas, and then they did relatively well with their clubs. Either they scored goals, I think Sargent had a goal, Christian Pulisic had minutes, X, Y, and Z player had successful runs with their clubs. Why is it that we put these players together and either Greg Berhalter doesn't know what to do, or there's no leadership on the team, there's no pride? This is the big problem with the U.S. men's national team.
No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. And that's the $100 million question is, how do you fix that? How do the players?
Well, is it writing an apology letter? Is that the first way to fix things?
I can tell you as somebody who read the apology letter what how much hot air was in that apology letter, because
all right, let's get to it. Come on.
I never read it and thought, wow, thank God Greg Berhalter wrote this apology letter. I feel so much better that
Thank God.
we lost 2-0 to Canada. All right, let's dig into it. So, U.S. men's national team, they lose to Canada 2-0. The last time they took the field, that was the first time they lost to Canada in 34 years. Following the loss, Berhalter took some heat for failing to acknowledge the U.S. fans that traveled to Toronto for the match. Greg Berhalter addressed this issue later on in a letter, and he writes, "Maybe it was anger after conceding the late goal or frustration regarding our performance. Either way, no matter what I was feeling after the final whistle in Toronto, I should have walked over to thank our traveling supporters. I screwed up and I apologize. You've been with this team through thick and thin, and you deserve nothing less than our appreciation. I hope you know that you have it for every game." So, okay.
Isn't it? Wait. I just love the irony, because the three of us have written multiple apology letters, and then somebody actually writes an apology letter. Isn't that just funny? When I saw this, I thought it was a joke. When I first saw the tweet, I'm like, no, you're kidding. Greg Berhalter wrote an apology letter to the fans. What world do we live in? Like, could you imagine
it's
Bill
dope.
Belichick or Steve Kerr going like, "Dear Golden State Warrior fans, dear Patriots fans"?
Well, I mean, I can see Steve Kerr writing an apology letter to the Chinese government, but not so much. I don't know about the fans, but we know where the NBA's interests lie. So, I mean, listen, we were all frustrated they lost. I mean, maybe frustration isn't even the right word here. But, like, is that an excuse? I'm not somebody who gets all emotional about coaches thanking fans and coming over and thanking fans. Like, to me, that's just like, it's a business. You're there to play.
Does it really matter? If I were the away fan, if my coach came up to me and started applauding after getting embarrassed, I would say, "Dude, go fix your locker room. Don't come over here and cheer us on."
You'd be Bob Bradley to Sebastian Salazar. You'd be, "Get lost. Get out of here. I don't want to see you."
That's when you need Bob Bradley. Yeah, exactly. That's a great example. That is when you lose, you want to be the Bob Bradleys.
But no, you want to show your appreciation to the fans that came out, right?
Who cares?
They care.
The fans?
They care.
No, it's the fans.
This is a PR ploy.
Why do you think he wrote an apology letter then?
This is a complete PR ploy.
No, because the fans want to believe it's like Europe, so they think that their players and coaches should go and give them a round. They all have to give you the applause.
I don't to Canada for the game. Why would it are they gonna say, "Hey, thanks for coming out"?
But that happens. That happens. Okay, so the Packers play the Chargers State. Or probably 75% of the stadium was Packer fans. I didn't see Aaron Rodgers doing a lap around the stadium.
Okay, but
applauding fans.
The cultures, the sports are different.
No, but Arman, I get it. Yes, you of course want to go applaud the away fans. But here's my big problem: you write an apology letter weeks after it. Not the press conference. Somebody says, "Hey, just mention that you should have gone over to the fans and applauded them." This is nothing but a PR ploy. This is damage control. This is trying to bring some calmness to a fan base that has no idea what to make of their U.S. men's national team.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying about the letter, but I mean, I think the premise of he should have just ran to his locker room if someone clapped at me and it was clapping after I lost, I'd be upset. I'd be like, "No, go and fix your thing." No, I think the fans want to see appreciation. Do I agree with the content of the letter?
After getting embarrassed? After getting
embarrassed. Yes, you do. At that point, that's the most important time. because the fans paid to watch you lead a team to get embarrassed. At that point, it's the most important time to say, "Hey fans, thank you. We gotta fix this."
Yeah, but why write an apology letter? Why not just put a 30-second video? Or how's this in the press
There's different
conference?
ways to do it. I mean, I think we're getting caught up in the semantics of it. I think.
But you don't have so you don't have a problem with this letter, none whatsoever.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't have a problem with the letter at all. But like I said, I'm more of a guy of I want to see it, and I haven't seen it from Greg Berhalter. So all this is just talk, but I have no problem with the letter at all.
Can you guys cue the 30 for 30 music for me? Because I'm about to lay this on you. What if I told you that Greg Berhalter probably didn't even write this letter? What if I told you that this was just a communications guy within U.S. Soccer and then just said Greg Berhalter wrote this? What if I told you that? Because this letter means nothing to me, and I don't understand why anybody would take this at face value and go, well, okay, yeah, great, thanks, but show it on the field. You know, it's I don't know. Do you guys want
Arman,
you want to hear more? You want to hear more of the letter? Do you want to hear more of the letter?
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
I mean, I can read the another juicy part, I guess if you want to call it juicy. Berhalter, using quotes here, continues to write, when we began this new journey earlier this year, we established the mission of changing the way the world views American soccer. We asked this group of players, many of whom are promising talents still developing and growing in their careers, to embrace this challenge and understanding that there would be highs and lows, that they would be placed in demanding situations knowing that the results might not always go our way. Of course, we want to win, especially for our fans. We also know that as we work towards achieving our goals, progress won't always be reflected on the scoreboard at the end of 90 minutes. Nonetheless, we remain focused, committed, and determined to the process of building our team, playing bravely, and performing on the biggest stages.
Yeah, I don't think he wrote that. Definitely.
No.
Definitely. This is PR 101. I'm telling you, this is good PR. This is damage control. This is what you have to do in this situation. You have a fan base that has no idea what's going on with this national team. However, Arman, let's get to the bright side. Christian Pulisic, boy, has he turned things around. But I don't think it's been that big of a turnaround because in his first 14 games, he had 5 starts, 501 minutes, and 5 assists. And if I had said that at the beginning of the summer or in the middle of summer, I said, hey, Arman, within the first 14 games, Christian Pulisic would play 500 minutes and have 5 assists, you'd say it's not bad. You'd take it.
I mean, you'd say it's not bad, but again, I don't think anyone here would be happy with it. To be honest with you,
but it's not awful. It would fit the narrative that he's getting comfortable, right, with his new club,
right?
New league,
transition period.
Well, in the last 3 games, 3 starts, 243 minutes, and 4 goals, a perfect hat trick to match, to go along with it. He's been electric. What has happened? Did you just wake up and realize something, or do you think it's just the transition period is over?
I think he's getting comfortable in their Lampard system. I think that's a big part of it, on the wing. And, Lampard's given him belief. He's finding his attacking positions and he's capitalizing on it. I think when we were looking at the beginning, maybe Pulisic was a little at the beginning overwhelmed. Okay, I'm playing the biggest stage, all this attention's on me, blah, 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 blah. And then, like I said, I think it took a little bit, to get some confidence back, get a couple starts, get a couple runs. I think that assist, but when he came off the bench, was really key as well. Before he had the hat trick, I forgot what game it was. I think it was in the Champions League, was it? Yeah, when he sauced up Sergio Dest and found Batshuayi against Ajax. I think that was a key, to his confidence, a confidence booster right there. And you know what? He had a couple of good sub performances, and he came on and did well. I think he's just finding his feet in the system, and he's found it well. But again, as I said before, I'll say it again: it's too small of a sample size. We need this is a good run. It's a good run. His last run was a bad form. This is some good form. Let's just wait. For me, we'll see. I think a more clear picture of what we see in Pulisic at Chelsea, in December, January-ish.
I agree with Arman. I think the sample size here is very small, but it's promising, right? It's promising. I mean, and 744 minutes this season for Chelsea. Pulisic now has a goal plus assist per 90 of 1.09. I mean, that sounds good, right? That sounds good on paper. I can give you guys some other notable Americans to play in the Premier League. Their goals plus assists per 90. Landon Donovan at Everton had 0.58. Clint Dempsey at Fulham, 0.41. And Josie Altidore at Sunderland, 0.34. So he's definitely outperforming other Americans in the Premier League so far during his tenure at Chelsea. Frank Lampard comments on Pulisic's performance following Chelsea's 2-0 win over Watford. Lampard was quoted as saying, "It's great to see Christian scoring a goal from 4 yards out. I love to see that because he could have decided to not go the extra mile and then the ball flashes across the face, but nobody gets on the end of it. If he continues doing that sort of thing, then the goals will rack up because there are a lot of goals to get in the 6-yard box. I thought his general performance was top as well." So, you guys, we're going to ask this question again. Did we push the panic button too soon?
No, because I think it was warranted. I really do, because he was teetering, right? So now he boosted from it. He came out of this hole. I think it's never too early to hit that panic button, especially when you're at a big club, because how easy it could have been for Christian Pulisic to bury his head and just become another player there, another Mohamed Salah, Kevin De Bruyne.
That hurts.
That's not a bad company to be with.
Yeah, no, but it's not a bad company to be with now. But when they were at Chelsea, what were they? They were players that eventually were like, "You suck, bye."
No, we pressed the panic button too early. I think way too early. I think we had to wait and see what was going on. I think if it was December, I think it could have been around the right time to hit the panic, but I think it was a little too early, to be honest with you.
I don't know, listeners at USMNT Soccer Pod. Jake, you agree?
I agree. You can probably old takes expose me for my prediction that there was like a 30% chance he'd be with the club by next summer. I think that was probably a hot take. So you can arrest me, put me in hot take jail for that.
Yeah, that's fair. Lastly, guys, Serginho Dest ended up picking the USA. Quite frankly, I think that was probably one of the most shocking things that hit Twitter, because there was nobody within U.S. soccer media that said, "Oh yeah, Serginho Dest is going to pick the USA."
No one. I don't think anyone thought that Serginho Dest would pick the USA. And honestly, how could you blame anyone for thinking that? I mean, between the Dutch and the U.S., especially with what's been going on with the United States, I mean, it's like, I mean, personally, I'd much rather play for the Dutch than the U.S.
Yeah, hell yeah. Who wouldn't? Who
especially
wouldn't?
with Dest, who grew up in Netherlands, who speaks, fluent Dutch, like plays in the domestic league. Like, I don't know, man. This really surprised me, to say the least.
I bet it has a lot to do with playing time. I mean, think of it. If you're Serginho Dest, you're going to constantly be looking over your shoulder in terms of performance, because if you don't play well, there's somebody behind you in the Dutch system that could take your spot. With the U.S., I think his position is probably spoken for now for the next 8 to 12 years, right? Yeah. Would you agree? There's nobody who's gonna take Serginho Dest's spot now with the national team. Reggie Cannon? Chase Gasper got a call up to the national team camp. Is he going to take a spot? I mean, come on. That's probably what factored into us. And I think something has to be said that he came up through the U.S. Youth system as well. I mean, that definitely played into it. And the U.S. identified him, gave him a chance. The Dutch didn't give him a chance whatsoever until they realized, oh, this guy's good. He's playing for Ajax. He's playing in Champions League games. Maybe we should call him up. Maybe we should get him captized.
The U.S. got
American.
one right.
Yeah, yeah, kudos to Greg and Ernie Stewart. They were out at the Johan Cruyff Arena to see Dest take on Chelsea during the Champions League group stage match. So I'm surprised they were able to reel him in. Like Arman said, how could you blame him or anybody in his situation for picking the Netherlands over the U.S.? And we were all shocked. So, yeah. But hey, that's a feather in Greg Berhalter's hat. So you got to give him props for that.
Listeners at Uncle Sam Soccer Pod, give us your thoughts on the U.S. men's national team. Question of the day: what is the current state of your U.S. men's national team? And guys, I want to leave you with this one note. Transfermarket.com decided to do a little digging here. When you look at goals per match, guess who sits tied for 9th with Mohamed Salah? One Christian Pulisic. So,
you didn't let us guess.
Well,
yeah,
I wasn't going to let you guess because it was pretty obvious. But 0.5 per goals per match. Pretty damn good, I have to say. Listeners, come back tomorrow. We have a special show for you, a special interview. Come back Wednesday or Thursday. We haven't made up our minds. We'll talk MLS Cup final. 3 times in 4 years, we're getting the Seattle Seahawks versus the,
Seattle Sounders. Seattle Sounders, not the Seattle Seahawks.
It's the 3rd time in 4 years we're getting the Seattle Sounders versus Toronto FC. So stay tuned. Until next time.